if I say y is equal to x minus h plus k, and I know that h comma k is actually the vertex of my function, I still want to be able to control the function in one way or another. So one way to do that is to change what we call the amplitude. And so, well, we don't call it an amplitude in this particular case, but this would be like a vertical stretch. Spelled stretch wrong. That would be a vertical stretch or compression. Okay, that's what that would be. Now, what that means is, for example, example number 2 says, let's graph this, 1/2 times the absolute value of x. Well, let's think about that. What's the absolute value of -2? +2, right?
Yeah.
It'd be 1.
And then you multiply that by 1/2, so this would be
1,
right?
+1.
And then what's the absolute value of -1?
1.
1. And then you multiply that by 1/2, what would that be?
1/2.
+1/2. Absolute value of 0 is 0. 0 times 1/2 is 0. +1, that would be a +1/2. And then if you plug in 2, that would be +1. And then this would be 3/2. Okay? Now notice that my h comma k is non-existent, so my vertex actually occurs at 0, 0, right? This is the same as y is equal to 1/2 x minus 0 plus 0, right? Do you guys see that?
Yeah.
So the only thing I changed is the y values. Now let me show you what that looks like on the graphing calculator. So I have my parent function, and now I'm going to clear all this out, and I'm going to say 1 divided by 2 times second catalog absolute value x. So now graphically, because it's 1/2, it stretches it out a little bit. Or it compresses it, depending on how you think about it. It's compressing it vertically, but it looks like, or it feels like you're stretching it horizontally. Yes? Okay. I don't really care how you word it. I just want you to care about the behavior. What happens is I change that number.
Gotta realize what it does.
You gotta realize what it does. So let's play with this a little bit.
Wait, so this is different than the other one where like if it's a fraction it stresses instead of compressing?
Well, no, it's the same thing. It depends on how you view it. If you view it in the horizontal, it would stretch. But if you think of it in terms of the vertical, it's really more of a compression, right? I don't care what you think or how you word it, as long as you understand that manipulating that number changes how that behaves. What happens if I plug in 4/2, which is just 2, right? Watch what happens now.
It looks narrower.
It's the opposite.
Yeah, so that's a vertical stretch, right? But it's a horizontal compression, depending on how you look at it. Okay? Yes?
I'm going to the bathroom.
Yes. What happens if I do this? What happens if I make this a -4/2?
It turns. Flip it.
It flips it upside down. Okay? Okay, so here's our graphing, here's our function. Let me do one more too. No, we'll do it like that. So right now what I've done is I put in a slider that changes that a value. Okay? So watch this. Here's what happens. As I take this and I change the value of a, as it gets bigger, what does it do?
Shrinks.
It closes, right? Now the question that Cole said, could you ever make that a straight line, Mr. Adams? And I said it would have to approach 0. So as I slowly move my slider over, which changes the a value, eventually at 0 you get a straight line. Now if I come in here and I do like, I don't know, we'll do like a +3, right? It just vertically shifts it up 3, right? And if I were to come in here and do like -2, or we'll just say -1, so we'll say -1.
Moves it down left.
Yeah, it'll move it down a little bit, but now when I fold it up, do you see what it does?
Yeah, I moved it right once.
Yeah, so now when I go this way, as soon as that hits negative,
It's upside down.
yeah, but the difference between compressing and shrinking, we and I didn't want to confuse you guys as to how you would define it or write it down. It occurs at 1 and -1. If it's a fraction, then it opens up. If it's greater than 1 or more or less than -1, then it closes the V. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's all I really want you guys to know. Because in the real world, what will happen is Mr. Adams might go and do some sort of math project or some physics project, and I've got a bunch of data and I do like a scatter plot that looks like that. Now I've got to figure out how to make my data fit that. So what I do is I do, through a lot of complicated math, go through and figure out how to make that fit. Technically, I could probably do this and maybe move this over a little bit and stuff like that. But eventually you make the graph fit your data.